which goes further. So they don't need the huge capacity. In the cities, they go much higher because of the population, if it's a metro compact city. So the geography and the type of housing is a parameter, and there are some political, let's say, sides of it. But what we can see in the statistics is that if you look just now in front of you, you see that this rural group during this 2019-21 period, which is mainly 2021, the launch of 5G and 4G base or 4G, 5G base, we see that it is more than double the excess mortality in the big counties in all ages compared to the rural. So what we see is that the explanation for what has caused or very likely have caused a much higher excess mortality in the metro cities is a much higher density of antennas plus the higher frequencies used to get more output. While the rural, they will typically have fewer antennas and longer between them, and also lower frequencies in order to get a longer range. So that is common parameter. But let's say if you go to some age groups, some older, they may use less and younger may use more. So what is the surprise when you see at the younger age group? This is the 5G period, 2021. We see that the rural, they go rather high, at least in 2021, but it's still much less than the big population counties. So if you look at the total effect during those 2-3 year period, so the rural has about, let's say, 25% excess mortality during those 3 years, whilst the big counties have almost 100% increased mortality during those 3 years. So it is almost 4 times the difference during those 3 years of mortality in this 25 to 64 age group in the max min, which is the rural versus the big population center, and then this in between or in between. So if we see,
I think the point that
I
think you've mentioned that I would just amplify here, or focus on, is that as these technologies are being introduced, as the speed and the exposure to these different frequencies, pulsating frequencies, going from one technology, from 4G plus to 5G, did you mention, well, the 5G, which can go all the way up to 60 gigahertz? I don't think any of us have experienced that. But I think the range on frequencies are ranging from 8.4 gigahertz up to what?
So the big cities where you have, let's say, downtown LA or San Francisco, they have utilized initially 26 or 38 gigahertz, while the rural, they practically didn't go higher than 2.7 gigahertz because of the range, and so it's a huge difference. But what seems to be happening is that there's a learning curve. They believe they would use these high frequencies and that it would be great, but I think they realized it was not economical. So they have a range of 100 yards or something, these 26 or 38. So if you are in a in Manhattan and you can put that around some big blocks, that might be something. But if you go to LA, outside downtown, it will not work. So in reality, this is a mix of different frequencies, and the real reality is that we are not only talking about the effects of mobile phone communication, which is what we kind of look at here, but it's a kind of proxy for the real reality, which is that the last 10 years, it's been built out fiber optic networks, cables, replacing the copper wire more and more. And in the metro cities, metro places, there is much more fiber. And offices, hotels, private homes, they have much more installed fiber. So they can stream, and they have modems, they have Wi-Fi. Okay, most people now have a router, and it can be 3G or 4G, and it is, let's say, in your part of the world, up in the well outside San Diego and direction, let's say, north. These places typically did not have high output except for in the main population centers. So what is the situation is that they have built out these fiber, and when they have fiber, they can build more powerful antennas for output. They can go to homes, and you can use routers for real 5G, not 4G. And the exposure of the people inside the home typically is much higher if you have full 4G, 5G outside, plus they have the fiber optic cables inside. So the rural and metro probably is a proxy for all of these, so that the rural, they have less possibilities. They don't really have fiber because it costs money to get it out, and it is not economic unless there is enough people. So what has been the case for a quite long time is that they use some kind of radio links, which is different types of frequencies, which goes up in the hills and valleys down to the places where they have fiber. And the technology is, let's say, limited. So if you're living up on the hill somewhere or some rural places, there is not really any economic way to get high frequency out there. And those antennas, which might be somewhere, they might be miles away. And then it is limited what frequency which can be transmitted in order to get out. So you are less than 2 gigahertz, you are 700 megahertz to 1.8 gigahertz, which is much, let's say, lower frequencies and carrying much less data. But what happened during the 4G plus upwards is that they went from one antenna to up to 3 antennas. So by combining 3 lower frequencies or higher frequencies, they get a lot more output. And I think it's the output which is correlates to the damage. So the damage is very often not just related to one user, but let's say a group of users. If you have people sitting in a car.
When you talk about damage, just so that we're clear here, the damages are health issues related to disruptions within these frequencies in relationship to the human biofield. So damage could be to the brain, it could be to the heart, it could be to the lungs. The symptoms mainly causing blood coagulation or blood clots that could lead to the very symptoms that were associated with a phantom virus.